The steady beeping of the monitor filled the hospital room, echoing my quickened heartbeat. Pain seared through my abdomen as I gripped the bed rail, the doctor's urgent words still ringing in my ears. Serious complications, he had said. The procedure isn't just necessary, it's a matter of survival for you and your unborn child. The door suddenly burst open, slamming against the wall, and Lamb stormed in, his face twisted in fury. His voice was as sharp as a knife when he shouted, "Do you think I'm made of money? You expect me to pay for this nonsense?" I froze, stunned by his words. "Lamb," I said, my voice trembling, "this isn't about money. It's about saving our baby's life, and mine." But he wasn't listening. He marched toward the bed, his eyes blazing with frustration. "You're always making everything about you. You're so dramatic, Ava. Why did we even have a kid if you can't handle it?" His words cut through me like a knife, but before I could respond, he grabbed a handful of my hair and yanked it hard. Pain shot through my scalp as tears sprang to my eyes. "Let go," I cried, struggling against his grip, but his hand only tightened. Without warning, his free hand swung across my face, delivering a stinging slap that left my cheek burning. The room spun for a moment, but I steadied myself, refusing to back down. "Stop this, Liam. What is wrong with you?" I shouted, my voice shaking but defiant. Before anything more could happen, the door flew open, and a nurse rushed in. Her face was pale with alarm. "Sir, step away from her," she commanded, her tone firm. Liam released me abruptly, glaring at the nurse. "Mind your own business," he snapped, but the nurse stood her ground, picking up the phone to call for security. "You'll regret this," Liam hissed at me before storming out of the room, slamming the door behind him. The door rattled in its frame as Liam's angry departure left the room eerily quiet. I slumped back against the hospital bed, my body trembling from the confrontation. My cheeks stung from his slap, and my scalp throbbed where he had yanked my hair. The tears that threatened to spill earlier now flowed freely. The nurse, a kind woman named Claire, approached me cautiously. She gently touched my arm, her voice soft but steady. "Are you all right? Let me check your vitals." I nodded weakly, my voice caught in my throat as Claire adjusted the machines and checked my pulse. Her expression was filled with concern. "You don't have to go through this alone," she said quietly. "If you need help, we can connect you with someone who can ensure your safety." Her words planted a seed of hope, but fear still gripped me. What if Liam retaliated? What if he found out I had reached out for help? I closed my eyes and took a shaky breath, trying to push those thoughts aside. For now, I needed to focus on the procedure ahead. The doctor entered moments later, her expression kind but serious. "Ava, we need to proceed with the surgery soon," she said. "It's critical for both you and your baby." I swallowed hard, summoning what little courage I had left. "Do whatever you need to do," I whispered, my voice barely audible. Survival, mine and my child's, was all that mattered now. The operating room was bright and sterile, its lights glaring above me as the medical team prepared for the procedure. Fear threatened to overwhelm me, but I clung to a singular thought: my baby. I focused on her tiny heartbeat, the rhythm of hope that kept me fighting. The surgery felt endless, each moment stretching into eternity. The pain, the exhaustion, the uncertainty, all of it faded when I heard her first cry. Tears streamed down my face as they placed my baby girl in my arms. She was perfect, so small and full of life. In that moment, all my fear and pain melted away. She was my reason to keep going. Back in the recovery room, the nurse Claire stayed by my side. "She's beautiful," she said softly, glancing at my daughter. Her words were warm, but the shadow of Liam's actions lingered in the back of my mind. Liam didn't return to the hospital. Not that I wanted him there. As I cradled my daughter, I knew she deserved better. I couldn't allow her to grow up in the shadow of his anger and abuse. 2 days later, after being cleared to leave the hospital, I made a decision. I wouldn't be going home. Not to Lamb. I called Mia, my childhood best friend who had always been there for me. "Ava, you and the baby can stay with me as long as you need," Maya said without hesitation. Her words brought me a sense of relief I hadn't felt in months. I packed what little I had, clutching my daughter close as I stepped into Maya's apartment. It was small but cozy, and most importantly, it was safe. For the first time in what felt like forever, I allowed myself to breathe. Maya's apartment became a sanctuary, a place where I could finally begin to process everything I had endured. With her support, I started taking the steps to protect my baby and myself from Liam permanently. The first call I made was to a lawyer named Nicole, who specialized in family law. During our first meeting, I recounted every detail of Liam's neglect, his violent outbursts, and his refusal to support me during the pregnancy. Nicole listened intently, her expression a mix of concern and determination. "We have a strong case," Nicole assured me. "Your safety and your baby's well-being are our top priorities. We'll make sure Liam is held accountable." Her words gave me hope. Nicole helped me file for an emergency protective order against Liam, ensuring he couldn't come near us. The order was granted quickly, giving me a small but significant sense of security. Meanwhile, Maya helped me document everything. Photos of the bruises on my wrist, the red marks on my face, and every threatening message Liam had sent. Each piece of evidence became a stepping stone toward building our case. My case. But Liam wasn't going to let go easily. One afternoon, he showed up at Mia's apartment unannounced, pounding on the door and shouting. Ava opened the door, his voice booming, echoing through the hallway. "You can't keep my kid away from me," he yelled. Mia motioned for me to stay quiet while she called the building security. I clutched my baby close, my heart racing as Liam's threats grew louder. "You're going to regret this, Ava," he screamed before the landlord and security guards forced him to leave. When I told Nicole about the incident, she was livid. "This behavior only strengthens your case," she said firmly. "We need to move forward with the custody hearing as soon as possible." The courtroom felt intimidating as I stepped inside, holding my baby close. My heart raced as I faced the man who had once promised to protect me, but had instead become my greatest fear. Liam sat on the other side, his expression cold and defiant. He refused to acknowledge me, his focus solely on his lawyer. Nicole was a pillar of strength. She stood with confidence as she presented our case, laying out every detail of Liam's neglect and abuse. The nurse, Claire, provided a powerful testimony, recounting the hospital incident when Liam had slapped me and yanked my hair. The photographic evidence of my injuries, coupled with his threatening messages, painted a damning picture of his behavior. Liam's lawyer tried to discredit me, suggesting that I was overly emotional and trying to alienate him from his child. But Nicole was relentless. "Ava is fighting for her life and the life of her baby," she argued passionately. "Liam's actions during her most vulnerable moments are clear evidence of his unfitness as a parent." The judge listened intently, his expression unreadable as he reviewed the evidence. After what felt like an eternity, he delivered his ruling. I was granted full custody of my baby, and Liam's visitation rights were severely limited under strict supervision. Liam's face twisted with anger as the judge's words sank in. He stood abruptly, glaring at me as if blaming me for his defeat. But for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel afraid. I held my baby close, a wave of relief washing over me. Justice had prevailed, and I had taken a critical step toward building a safer future. With the court's decision in my favor, I finally felt the weight of Liam's control begin to lift. The first thing I did was find a small, affordable apartment in a quiet neighborhood far from the chaos Liam had brought into my life. It wasn't much, but it was mine, a place where my baby and I could feel safe. Living as a single mother wasn't easy. Nights were long, with my baby crying endlessly and exhaustion creeping in. But every moment spent nurturing her was worth it. She was my reason for everything, and I was determined to provide her with a life filled with love and stability. Maya remained my rock, helping me navigate this new chapter. She often dropped by with groceries, watched the baby so I could rest, and offered words of encouragement. "You've come so far, Ava," she said one evening as we sat on the living room floor. "You're stronger than you think." I realized she was right. I had survived the worst, and I was finally finding my footing. My determination to protect my baby was growing stronger with each passing day. As I settled into our new life, Nicole discovered a shocking twist. While sorting through Liam's financial records, she uncovered evidence of multiple hidden bank accounts he had deliberately concealed during the custody hearings. These accounts contained substantial amounts of money, more than enough to have covered my medical expenses and supported our baby. Nicole wasted no time filing a motion to reopen the case. "This isn't just unethical," she explained. "It's illegal. Liam's deceit is further proof of his manipulative behavior." The reopened case brought new energy to the fight for justice in the courtroom. Nicole presented the evidence of Liam's hidden bank accounts with meticulous detail. She laid out transaction records, account balances, and proof that Liam had intentionally concealed this wealth to avoid supporting me and our baby. The judge's expression hardened as Nicole explained the extent of Liam's deception. "This behavior demonstrates a clear pattern of manipulation and financial dishonesty," the judge stated. She argued that Mr. Carter not only neglected his responsibilities as a father but also deliberately withheld resources that could have ensured his family's well-being. Liam's lawyer struggled to defend him, but the evidence was overwhelming. Liam attempted to deny the claims, accusing me of fabricating the documents, but Nicole countered every argument with precision. The judge, unimpressed by Liam's weak defense, issued a stern verdict. Liam was ordered to pay a significant penalty for his dishonesty and provide additional financial support for our child. The judge also initiated an investigation into Liam's broader financial dealings, suspecting fraud in his business activities. When the gavel struck, a wave of satisfaction washed over me. Justice was being served, and Liam's manipulation was finally coming to light. For the first time, I felt like I was truly free from his control. With the financial stability provided by the court's ruling, I could finally focus on creating a secure home for my baby. I used the funds to pay off lingering medical bills, establish a savings account, and even start a college fund for my daughter. Each step brought me closer to the life I had envisioned, a life free of fear and filled with possibilities. Ryan, my kind-hearted neighbor, continued to be a steady presence in our lives. He helped me with small tasks, like fixing a leaky faucet or carrying groceries, and his quiet kindness began to break down the walls I had built around my heart. One evening, as we sat in my living room watching my baby play, Ryan turned to me and said, "Ava, I care about you, about both of you. If there's ever a chance for us to be something more, I'd like to be here for you." His words brought tears to my eyes. It had been so long since someone had shown me love without strings attached. Though I wasn't ready to rush into anything, I knew Ryan's presence was a blessing I didn't want to lose. As life began to stabilize, the investigation into Liam's financial activities revealed even more layers of his deceit. Nicole called me one morning with startling news. Ava, the authorities have found evidence of fraud and embezzlement in Liam's business dealings, she said. This could lead to criminal charges. At first, I hesitated. Did I really want to pursue this further? But then I thought about all the pain he had caused, not just to me, but potentially to others he had manipulated. I agreed to proceed, knowing that exposing his actions was the right thing to do. The investigation moved quickly, and soon Liam was arrested on multiple charges. Watching the legal system hold him accountable brought a sense of closure I hadn't expected. Liam's arrest marked the final chapter of a painful part of my life, ensuring he wouldn't be able to harm anyone else. With Liam's shadow finally gone, I was free to focus entirely on my baby and our future. My nonprofit organization, inspired by my own journey, began to take shape. Maya and Nicole offered their unwavering support, helping me establish a shelter for survivors of domestic violence. The shelter provided legal aid, counseling, and a safe haven for women and children escaping abusive environments. Each time I shared my story with someone who felt hopeless, I saw a spark of hope in their eyes. It was both healing and empowering to use my experiences to help others reclaim their lives. Ryan remained a constant in our lives, offering his quiet support and love. Over time, our bond deepened, and he became a father figure to my daughter, a role he embraced wholeheartedly. His presence reminded me that love could be kind, patient, and genuine. One sunny afternoon, as I sat on the porch of our small home, watching my daughter toddle around the yard with Ryan, a sense of peace washed over me. The journey had been long and filled with challenges, but it had brought me to a place of stability and joy. My baby's laughter filled the air, a reminder of why I had fought so hard. I had built a life that was mine, filled with love, purpose, and the promise of a brighter future. Though the scars of the past remained, they were no longer a source of pain. Instead, they were a testament to my resilience, a reminder that I had survived and thrived. As the sun set on another day, I looked at the life I had created and felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. My baby was happy and healthy, my nonprofit was thriving, and Ryan's love had brought a new chapter of hope into our lives. I had reclaimed my life, and for the first time in years, I felt truly free.